Hello everyone, welcome to our Transport Phenomenon Test Kitchen, where today we'll be talking about transporting cookies. Traditionally, cookies are baked in an oven where the two main types of heat transport that are considered are conduction and radiation. The main thing we're looking to test is if the oven is really the best way to bake cookies. How do different modes of heat transfer affect how our cookies turn out in terms of density and taste?
For our experiment, we baked sugar cookies following the recipe displayed. We made every cookie as uniform as we could using a mold and took measurements of each one. We measured thicknesses, diameters, and temperatures, which could be used in heat transfer equations to estimate heat flow. We also measured weights before and after to see the weight of water that evaporated through each cooking method, and we made our own not super scientific cookie hardness test where Ruby broke a cookie in half and rated it on a scale from 1 to 5.
Our first cookie baking method is a conventional oven, which is the typical means of baking a cookie. The sugar cookie dough is placed in the oven at 375 degrees Fahrenheit and cooked for 8 minutes. Here we can see two means of heat transfer, radiation from the gas oven and conduction from the pan. Radiation occurs as the combustion of the gas in the oven creates a constant temperature atmosphere for the cookies to bake in. The cookies are completely surrounded by the heat, absorbing it in and causing the raw dough to transform into the baked cookie. We can analyze this heat flow through the Stefan-Boltzmann law, assuming that the cookie perfectly absorbs the heat of the oven. Calculating the area of the cookie and measuring the temperature of the cookie and the oven, the rate of heat flowing through the cookie can be calculated. However, not only do the cookies absorb the heat, but so does the pan. This creates a conductive heat transfer effect, as heat is absorbed through the bottom of the pan and upwards. Taking measurements of the temperature of the pan and cookie, as well as using a cookie thermal conductivity, the heat flow through the pan can be calculated via Fourier's law of conduction. Knowing both of these heat flows, as well as taking density, weight, and taste tests, we can use them in comparison to our other cookie baking methods to help us see if the oven really is the best cookie baking method.
A microwave is a form of electromagnetic radiation. In a microwave oven, the microwaves are produced by an electron tube known as a magnetron. The interior of the oven is all metal, which reflects the microwave radiation toward the food. The absorbed waves cause water molecules to vibrate, which produces heat through friction and cooks the food. Radiation occurs when energy is transmitted in the form of waves into a medium. The exteriors of thicker foods are cooked directly by the radiation provided, but the insides receive the majority of their heat from the conduction through the hot outer surface. The heat transfer of a microwave is governed mainly by the Stefan-Boltzmann law and Fourier's law of conduction. Water molecules that vaporize in the microwave contribute both free and forced convection, but these sources of heat transfer are considered minuscule compared to radiation and conduction.
On the stovetop, a natural gas flame heats the bottom of the skillet via conduction, convection, and radiation. The heat transferred to the bottom of the pan flows through it via conduction and then flows through the cookie via conduction, cooking it. The pan and cookie also transfer heat to the air at their surfaces by natural convection, which we will neglect for the experiment. We use calipers to measure the cookie thickness and thermometer to measure the temperatures at the cookie surface and bottom. These measurements will give us dt dx, which we can use in Fourier's law of conduction, along with the surface area of the cookie and a researched cookie thermal conductivity to find the heat flow through the cookie as it cooks. As you can see, the stovetop cookies did not turn out that great.
We decided to use an air fryer as one of our cookie baking methods to examine the effects of forced convection on the baking process. Air fryers use fast-moving air as opposed to submersion in oil to fry foods and are able to be used for much more than just deep frying. To bake the air fryer cookies, 2 cookies were placed on foil such that the forced convection mostly came from the top where the fan is. The same temperature and time parameters that were used for the oven were also used for the air fryer, 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 8 minutes. Newton's law of cooling can be used to determine the heat flow from forced convection. The heat transfer coefficient can be determined based on the baking temperature or based on the Nusselt number. The area would be the surface area of the cookie after cooling, and the temperature change for the air fryer cookies can be based off the temperature difference in the center versus the top after baking.
I don't know where to put my tongue first.
To be honest, didn't want to try this one, but everyone else did, so.
You know, I kind of like the burniness of it.
There's a great variation of texture.
But it's honestly not bad. I'm not sure if I should eat the whole thing, but like, it's not bad.
Very raw on top, and the burntness kind of just takes over the flavor.
Unfortunately, the burnness kind of ruins this experience.
Almost like a pancake. I like it.
Yeah, not too good.
So it almost tastes like raw cookie dough. I like that. Decent cookie.
No, this one is pretty good. It kind of tastes regular.
Tastes like your typical cookie.
Probably the best quality overall cookie, but you know, it's a little boring. Too average, I'd say.
This one is the best one. Like, the other ones aren't bad, but like, it is the best. Wait, actually. This is the one. Yeah.
This one's better. This is the best one.
It's like gooey, but like that, like the crunch on top really gives it a good like texture profile.
I really like at the top, it's like a dome of crunchiness, and then it opens up into this like gooey center. Yeah.
Here are all our individual and the average ratings from the taste test, and what we found was that the air fryer actually does make a better cookie than the oven.